This is Signal and Noise, bringing clarity to data, tech, and AI.
Okay, so hi, Jill.
Hi.
Jill Randell. So I'm very glad to have you on the podcast today. We are sitting here in the Tresor Tower above the Fontainebleau Hotel, looking out across Miami. It's really beautiful, and we're very lucky to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. Jill, you're from Fuse, am I right?
Yep. Yes, Fuse. Fuse.is.
And the Fuse in a minute, because I read your website and I've been talking to you about it as well. I want to actually just start with you. You've obviously had a storied career yourself. You've been at big tech, and now you're in the entrepreneurial sort of startup. I want to hear about just a little bit about your career trajectory, but also how you're finding the big scary world of startup life as well.
Thank you. Yes, actually, my career kind of, in a way, helped prepare me for startup life. I started at Google back in 2002 under Sheryl Sandberg. So
Wow.
We were a small team. I think there were maybe 400 people in the company at the time, and really exciting, explosive growth. And I got to be a part of that. And through my role in that team, realized how important agencies were to the ecosystem for Google, and we had no special support. So that prompted my move to New York to help start the first agency partnerships team. And, from there, I did have a stint on a team that was like building a product from scratch within Google. So that was, again, kind of what helped prep me for where I am today. But did spend about half my career working with brands and agencies at Google, from performance to media buying to creative.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I kind of ran the gamut.
That's awesome. And so where was Google at this point? They must have been in a totally different place to where they are now, right?
Very, very, very different. Hypergrowth stage. The culture was just incredible. Learned so much, met so many incredibly smart people, really amazing people, and forever grateful for my time there.
Yeah, I can imagine. You've taken some lessons into your new business from all that experience as well. And then you moved to
Then
Twitter.
I moved to Twitter, yes. So I took on a global role working with Group MWPP and creating strategic relationships there. So continued on my learnings from Google into Twitter, which was also in a state of growth at the time in terms of like expanding video offerings and all of that. So it was also a fantastic experience. And my last role was actually agency side. So I felt a lot of the pain points that Fuse is solving for when it comes to understanding siloed data.
Yeah.
And one of our pain points from an agency perspective is that, we have a lot of people right out of college who don't necessarily, have that training and understanding of what is an insight versus a data point. And so sometimes the default is to send out data points, science, and the clients are like, well, what do I do with this information? So that
was a human job, wasn't it?
It's a human's job, and it still happens today, even though, I think there are tools and AI is obviously helping supplement that workflow, but, humans are human and we have our patterns and people stick to what's comfortable. And so there's that innate, training that you need to go through to help, junior employees kind of get into that mindset of, I need to help my clients.
Yeah.
What do I do next with my marketing? So that's what we're trying to solve for.
Marketing that's one of the key learnings that I've taken away throughout my career, is that you're always at the behest of your customer. You have to think about what they want, what they need, what their problems are. And I think ad tech and martech is all too product salesy for that. There's a lot of businesses and products that tell you what they do, but so what? That's always a really interesting lens to put over the top there.
Exactly. And I think, dashboards have their place in a way, but the challenge with dashboards is that they're static and they don't give you the context of why is this trend happening? What is the anomaly that I need to address right away? And helping you take that extra step. Like they just don't have that intelligence.
Yeah.
And so that, again, that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And I suppose AI adds a lot of the ability to ask it, the ability to load it with an anchor or a bit of context that changes everything. And that can happen in a self-serve way as well, that the human was doing manually before.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, AI is a fantastic tool in that it helps save you all this time, and there's these amazing, cool things you can do with it. But it's also, you have to be a little careful in terms of how you
Right.
deploy it, because you can get into trouble.
Yeah.
Especially if you're just kind of blindly uploading things to ChatGPT or any take your pick of the bunch, and you're not like using common sense and double checking, like you can, of course, have hallucinations, which is not good for anybody.
Okay, so I see a problem here, which I think you're going to talk about a little bit, which is, in one hand, someone can ask it anything, and on the other hand, it hallucinates. This sounds like a challenge to overcome.
It's a huge challenge.
Right.
I think and I don't quote me exactly, but I believe I saw a stat that it's something around 13% of responses to prompts are hallucinated.
Right.
Marketer, and you're trying to make budget decisions based on bad data, you're not necessarily going to make the right decisions for your business.
Yeah. I mean, that's a scary thought in a world where, the famous saying is, what we don't know which 50% works. And, all those funny things that come up that just point to bad planning or bad measurement on one or either end of the spectrum. And yes, for sure, AI overall is going to improve productivity and data and insights over the course of time. But yeah, I can see how it might just amplify a lot of rubbish as well.
Exactly. The whole expression garbage in, garbage out. We we need to eliminate the garbage altogether. And, it starts with the data. And
Yeah.
it starts with making sure the data is accurate and clean and organized in a way that allows you to, have that analysis and conduct that analysis. And so that's where we start with just verifying the data. So we pull it live directly from the platforms, and then have this whole verification layer so that you can trust that the data is clean and ready and organized and ready for that next step of the analysis. And a lot of other tools that are, especially the ones that are legacy, they're not AI native. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
And therefore there's a lot of mistrust in you talk to any marketer, you talk to any CMO, they're skeptical.
Yeah.
They're like, I know I need to be using AI, in a more robust way to help me provide better outcomes for my business. But how do I do that? Where do I start? And the tools that I have used don't work.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mistrust. And that's where we're trying to build back that trust with your data tools and data analysis tools, because we've built in that trust layer.
It's it's a really interesting concept, because I think that if you're a personal user, I've seen time and time again that a good looking dashboard and UI is always appealing to someone to just get a quick job done. But when there's money on the line, when there's a business outcome on the line, there must be so many leaders that don't even know their data is not trustworthy. So is it so obviously you're trying to sell to people or customers that get the problem, but there must be also so many customers that don't realize what they're looking at is the problem.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Or conversation, or is it? Do you find ways of
moment? Like I was actually, it was like right after CES, and former colleague who's a CMO at a very large enterprise now. She's like, day one, I met with my team and they presented all these like dashboards, and she's like, I was just like, what is this? How do I make sense of this? And, for her, especially as a brand new person walking in, like where do you even start? Like, how do you know which metrics are important, which ones are driving business, and, kind of building a strategy from that?
Yeah, for sure. That's a really interesting point to make about what questions you ask the leader as well. And I also wonder, is there a way of you, I guess, getting them to stress test the problem themselves with AI? So like ask it the same question 3 times, see what it comes back with, and they'll go, oh, it actually gave me totally different answers each time.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. We've had our current clients. So, we'll start off with the first phone call and they're, skeptical, and they're like, I've tried these things and they're inaccurate. And then they try ours, or they compare it side by side. Even Google's own tool isn't quite as accurate as you would expect it to be. And when you do the side by side comparison, or like you said, take the same question multiple times and see the consistency in responses, that builds the trust. That's like the trust layer of no hallucinations when you actually verify. And if you, of course, want to go back and verify it on your own just to, check it, everyone comes back and they're like, wow, like I cannot believe how accurate and close it is. But I do want to touch on your point about what questions to ask, because that's actually what we're hearing a lot from some of our clients and potential clients, where I don't even know where to start with the questions. So we will help.
Before.
Well, it depends on the expertise level. So if we're talking to an expert marketer or analyst, they already know what questions to ask. They have no problem just jumping right in and asking questions. But if it's like a CEO or maybe a startup founder who doesn't have a marketing background, those are the people who need a little bit extra guidance when it comes to, okay, like I know this is important, but like where do I start? What are the right questions? And
what's important in those questions?
Exactly. So we have some preset prompts. We're also providing some more proactive, health checks or scorecards that help you identify more quickly what are the key critical areas you need to address in your marketing. So we're working on ways to be more proactive. But if you already have that marketing expertise, people love our products.
I can imagine. Yeah, and as an ex-Googler as well, it must be cathartic, not in in an us versus them way, but just in a wow. It's so challenging that even their technology finds it a struggle. So you must enjoy that process as well of fixing that issue.
Yeah, it is very rewarding. I mean, it's harder than it sounds. I mean, I think there's a lot of like, oh, I can just go and, vibe code something in, minutes. And it's like, well, it's not quite that easy. There's still that contextual layer and that proprietary piece, that layer that we've built in specific for marketing. So like we're vertical in terms of, we have that expertise in the performance marketing area.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know, this is maybe just me with a harebrained idea, but I guess it would be really interesting to see if you could quantify the scale of the error when you're using the wrong data in terms of like, because that's when it becomes really real to someone who is, just got their intern to vibe code dashboard and connected a brittle API to, their meta ads or whatever. And they're going, okay, I'm getting what I want. And all of a sudden they see something that's like, well, firstly, you're not. And secondly, the scale of the problem has, the consequence as well.
Yeah. And that consequence sometimes is, we're seeing that Meta can shut down your ad account. So in terms of quantifying, okay, what does it mean to your business if Meta suddenly shuts down your advertising account because you didn't have the right connections into their platform, and therefore, it was an unauthorized use of their, data.
Yeah.
So, making sure you're working with a tool that has that approved API access, then you don't have to worry about that happening.
Yeah. Look, I think that's actually a really understated future challenge for the next couple of years, because as the world gets more API connected and as the world, or as our industry lessens in human resource, I think that there's going to be so many attempts at just plugging that into that and that into that. And so I think that narrative and that capability of having strong connections into the data, so many fragile systems running around now.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly right. And it's also, it's like that continuous loop. So you make a decision, you implement it, which by the way, we are working towards we call it fuse execute, where, okay, you've got the recommendation. Now you just click a button, you approve it, and you don't even need to log into your account to make the change. So that's coming. But yeah, I mean, in terms of that loop, you've executed it. Now that data goes back into Fuse, and then it's going to take that into account for the next analysis, and making sure that in real time, like your budgets are optimally deployed across all the channels, because things change, things happen. There's seasonality. There's who knows what's going to happen in the world, and so to be able to have that agility is really important as a marketer.
Absolutely. And Jill, tell me, what was the journey towards starting Fuse? Was it born of an aha moment? Was it born of a pain that just was happening? It was just, this just needs to be fixed. What was going on?
Give credit to my co-founder for that. This was kind of the original actual concept of Fuse was to combine both the automation of like creating slide decks and presentations to present either to clients or to your internal teams or your CEO, CMO, or CFO, and that analysis and ability to holistically analyze across all data sets. So it was experiencing that pain point ourselves at different agencies, but the original idea was to automate that visualization so you could communicate to your stakeholders what those recommendations are and what the insights are. We are now actually, we do have that visualization capability with Fuse. So yes, to answer your question, it was born from a pain point that we've experienced our entire careers. But for me, I'm terrible at creating PowerPoints and designing slides and all that. And now thankfully we have AI to help us with that. And so kind of combining those two together, like we do have the ability to create visualizations using, Google's Nano Banana for the technology piece to help communicate those, what is that data story that needs to be told to the decision makers to, approve those decisions. So that's what it comes down. That's kind of the whole point with creating all these slides is to communicate, here's the analysis, here's the why, here's the story, here's what we need to do next.
And that sort of comes full circle to the so what, what is the point of the thing for that customer or for that marketer?
Yeah, that's exactly. We have the what, which is the data point. The so what does this mean? Why is this important? Which is, our secret sauce. And then the recommendations of now what? What do I do next with my marketing? And that's kind of why we've created that framework to, again, help marketers make better decisions.
Well, that's awesome. It's a cause that I think, the idea of making data more believable and reliable in an AI world is something you're going to fight against tide going that way. And I think it's a really good journey to go on and a really good outcome. So thank you so much. Are you here for the rest of the week? Are you
here? Yeah, I'm actually here for the week. I'm actually staying through for F1. So if anybody wants to get in touch, please reach out, either LinkedIn, Jill Randell, or Jill@fuse.is. Or come find me. I'll be probably hanging around the Fontainebleau.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jill, for your expertise
Thank you for having me. Oh, this is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.